Welcome to stage 7 of Riis. This is the queen stage of the race with the big mountaintop finish. We have a breakaway of 2 riders today, led by Martin Emilio Rodriguez of the Zulu Kingdom and Nicky Ruderman of the Adidas squad. Adidas have done pretty much nothing in this race so far, so it's good to see them finally on the attack. This group once consisted of 8 riders, the other 6 have all been dropped, so these are the last 2 survivors. Just over 32 kilometers to go. Martin Emilio Rodriguez has scored most of the points for the King of the Mountains today, should ascend that classification probably into 2nd or 3rd place. Breakaway riders approaching the intermediate sprint. Evian doing work at the front, the first time pretty much all race you've seen him do so. They must be feeling good after Andy Schleck won yesterday's stage, and today's stage is quite well suited for him as well. So wouldn't be surprised to see him go back to back. Be a major accomplishment if he did. Of course, there's also Bjarne Riis, the race leader, who's an excellent climber himself, and Pedro Delgado, who's extremely dangerous. So less than 30 seconds separating the 3 most dangerous riders in the race. Of course, don't count out Rudy Altig and Henny Kuiper, who might be able to drag themselves up a climb like this. But that is the overall situation heading into this stage. This is a group that was split up on that hilly section of road before the intermediate sprint. None of the major contenders caught out in it. They are trying to get back on terms before the last climb starts. So the breakaways have been caught. Rodriguez and Ruderman are back in the peloton. They'll probably lose an awful lot of time on this mountaintop finish, but they've done well for their teams today. Ceramicas now hammering at the front for Pedro Delgado, that is Edward van Dijk, who's been very active in Riis, done a lot of work for his team. I'm sure his manager will be pleased with his performance over these stages. La Claire, trying to recover from yesterday, their team leader, goes to Peterson, appears to have waited for Felician Vervaca, and in doing so they both lost almost 2 minutes on the road. So Peterson, he's 2:07 down on the leader Bjarne Riis. I don't think he can get it all back on today's stage, but a good performance could see him back up in the top 5 to 7 places. The race has reached the bottom of the climb, around 16 kilometers in length, averaging just under 7% gradient. Fairly gradual climb, no super steep sections. We'll definitely see a lot worse in the Tour of Switzerland and in the Tour of France later this season. But Van Dijk is still working at the front. The gaps between Riis, Delgado, and Schleck are close enough to where Delgado and Schleck might not need to attack until pretty late in this climb. But if they're feeling good and aggressive, then we could see moves come fairly early. This is Moncoutier of the leftovers launching the first move. He's taken Schleck with him, so already Andy Schleck, Luxembourg climber, looking to get off the road. It hasn't worked out though. Eric Brookink of the Ceramicas squad chases it down and starts setting his own tempo. Brookink, a strong ally on these sorts of stages. Smart draft choice by Ceramicas, as Delgado is dropped. He's a sprinter, he's not really cut out for these sorts of climbs. A little too long for him. There is Chozas. Now that is a bit of a surprise to see Chozas drop so early on. Still 10 kilometers to go in a fairly large group. And Schleck kicks again. This is a big attack by Andy Schleck. That's Delgado who's trying to close the gap. Peterson, Prem, and Bjarne Riis are all there. So this appears to be the big selection on the climb. The gap between these 5 and the others is growing very quickly. So I think these are the 5 strongest, and one of these 5 is going to win Riis. Great recovery by Ghost Peterson. He's found himself in the group. Stands to gain a lot from this if he can hold the wheels. Delgado working hard to close down this gap. Riis needs to help, and he will. He is the race leader, so he will have to do his own work. You make few friends when you wear yellow because everybody wants to take it from you. Schleck not making it easy, but Riis has nailed it back, and he resumes the pacemaking at the front. 5.6 kilometers to go. Pleasantly surprised to see Tommy Prim in this group. Wouldn't be classified as an elite climber, but he's up there with the cream of the crop. Henny Kuiper started the day 3rd overall. He's going to lose that in a bit more. He's in that group, which is more than a minute down, and Prim launches an attack. So Tommy Prim is on a great day, and he's trying to surprise us further with a big move towards the finish. I think it's been nailed back, but it's got rid of Pedro Delgado, so Delgado just let go of the wheels. He can't take any more, and these 4 are so equal on ability, all looking quite tired. It could come down to a sprint at the top of the mountain, and that is beneficial to Bjarne Riis. Not only is he a good sprinter, but he also won't have to follow many attacks. He doesn't stand to lose his race lead if this continues all the way to the finish. Delgado's still chasing, but I don't think he's going to come back. These 4 will sprint it out for the win. Tommy Prim, Bjarne Riis, Andy Schleck, and Ghost of Peterson. These are the top riders in Paris-Nice. Schleck looking a bit twitchy. He could be the man to beat. Here comes the sprint, and Schleck, he's got the legs. He's saved his best for the last 400 meters. He darts away. He'll gain a little bit of time as well. 17 seconds by the looks of it, plus the bonus seconds for winning the stage. Bjarne Riis will get 2nd, and the 2 Swedish riders take 3rd and 4th. Delgado will be a bit disappointed with 5th place, but the rest of the race a long way back. Almost 2 minutes and 50 seconds to Henny Kuiper in 6th place. Umglad is there in 7th. And the several riders from the leftovers, they had a great climb up the mountain today. They'll round up the top 10. Vervaeke bounces back with 12th place, so he could be back in the top 10. And a good ride by Rudi Altig to get 14th. Not bad considering his mountain stat. But the rest of the riders either working hard for their team leaders or just suffering up the climb. Delgado never ceases to amaze as a sprinter. He's beaten plenty of strong riders to the top of this mountain, while Mario Cipollini is bringing up the rear, as he often will on these mountain stages. Cipollini is such a magical sprinter, but he really does hate the mountains, and I'd be very surprised if he didn't get eliminated in the Tour de France for climbing too slow. But of course, the rider of the day is Andy Schleck. The Luxembourger grabs back-to-back stage wins. He has ascended almost to the top of the general classification. I think Riis will hold on to yellow by just a handful of seconds. But it's been a great day, or really 2 days out, for Evian and their leader Andy Schleck. Riis, he's defended well. He was right there with the others to the end. He gets 2nd place. And that should be enough to clinch the Pyrenees. I don't think stage 8 is hard enough to create any big gaps. So the standings today could be as they are at the end of the race tomorrow. But this is the top 10 on the stage, some big gaps opening up, especially once we get to 6th place onward. Ghost of Peterson recovered well after his mistake yesterday. He shouldn't have waited for Vervaeke, he should have ridden for himself, and that will cost Slaviclair some points in the long run. But there is your new general classification. It's Bjarne Riis. Still the race leader, Andy Schleck is up to 2nd overall. Tommy Prim, who's had a fantastic race, is up to 3rd. Delgado in 4th. Peterson all the way back up to 5th. Kuiper down from 3rd to 6th. Umglad still lurking in 7th, and Jan Ullrich and Rudi Altig, and Felician Vervaeke, who rounds up the top 10 at 4.5 minutes back. So that is your GC. I wouldn't expect any major changes after tomorrow's stage, so it could look a lot like this at the very end of it all. This is the points competition. No points scored amongst the top 3 sprinters. but Delgado looks well set to win that classification tomorrow depending on how things shake out. Schleck has closed the gap, but not enough. And Paul Sherwin still leads in the King of the Mountains jersey, but a lot of points are on offer tomorrow. Plenty of small second and third category climbs to score big on. Should be competitive for that. And then Blackberry still leading the team competition with Onglad, Prim, and Alaphilippe placing well on today's stage.